that's better. Welcome everyone. My name is Erica and I'm one of the founding members of HunterWiSE, and I'd like to welcome you all to this fantastic new building. Some of you might have been here before, but I for one have not been here before. It's a great investment by the university in the city. I'd also like to welcome our stalwart supporters, our sponsor members, and also our first timers to a HunterWiSE event. And I hope that we all get a lot out of this morning's event on recruiting and hiring women in STEM. As we look to our future of growing women in STEM industries, we've got some great speakers this morning to hear about some strategies in that regard. Leah. It's not working, Leah. Sorry. I'll have to get you to tap it on for me, please. Okay, and really importantly, before we get going, I would like to acknowledge where we're standing or sitting today. We acknowledge the Awabakal people, the traditional owners of the land on which we work and live. And we recognise their enduring connection to the land, the water and community. We pay our respects to the wisdom of the elders, past, present and emerging, and extend that respect to all First Nations people joining us here today on the beautiful Awabakal lands. Next, please, Leah. And HunterWiSE, some of you, as I said, have been here many times with us and some have not. I really cannot stress enough that our program of trying to grow women in STEM in the Hunter wouldn't be possible without our fantastic sponsors. And we have representatives here today from some of our brilliant industry supporters. You can see all their logos up there. These companies make it possible for us to deliver the HunterWiSE program. Typically, they would fund a school or two and sometimes events as well. And so it's the key to our success that we engage with businesses in the Hunter interested in STEM and interested in our topic today of growing participation of women in STEM. You can see down there picture of the founding members, 7 HunterWiSE members from different disciplines of STEM, many in the room today, so please say hi when we have some more networking. You can see we cover from computer science through to civil engineering and the education space as well. This is a passionate group of women who it's a great pleasure to work with as we try to really make a difference in our region. So thank you to my dear colleagues in the team and also to the sponsors. Thanks, Leah. And now to the topic at hand. We have 3 excellent women here to speak to us this morning on the topic of recruiting and hiring women in STEM, because we know that having explicit initiatives makes a difference. So we're really keen to hear about those explicit initiatives and ideas in different industries around the region. So first of all, we will hear from Helen Plummer. Thank you for coming today, Helen. Helen leads Lake Macquarie City Council's asset management team. She's responsible for delivery, improvement and management of Lake Mac's $4 billion asset portfolio, which is all the parks, playgrounds, roads and stormwater. And the team at Lake Mac spoke to us recently about exactly the topic of today. And so we're really pleased that Helen can come and talk to us on this topic. And she's currently in the team recruiting candidates to fill female targeted cadet engineers. So really keen to hear how that's going. And if you happen to know anyone, point them in Helen's direction. We also have Kari Armitage. Thank you for coming today, Kari. She's the Managing Director of Quarry Mining. leading Australian manufacturer, providing products, service and support to the mining and construction industry, employing more than 70 tradespeople, tech representatives and engineers, operations, not just in Newcastle, but also Sydney, Mackay, Melbourne and China. Kari is a stalwart HunterWiSE supporter, so thanks again for joining us today. And we have Renata Roberts. Thank you for coming today, Renata. Renata is the Chief Corporate Services Officer with Bloomfield Group, which is Australian owned and operated mining and engineering group based in the Lower Hunter. And she combines her vast experience in the resources industry with her passion for corporate governance and her commitment to equity, diversity and inclusion in the workplace. This is a great team of women and we really look forward to hearing what they have to say about their industries. So with that, I will just say that we're going to hear the 3 individual presentations. If you save your questions for the end, that's how it's going to go. So Helen, then Kari, then Renata, then questions. Let's get started. Thank you. Helen, if you could take to the podium.
Is that working? Yep. Great. All right, thank you. Thank you for that introduction. You probably said half of my content, but that's all good. Really great to see everyone here this morning and welcome to those online as well. Did this work or? Going to, yeah. No. All right, we'll try again. Okay, so just a bit of an introduction, I guess. As Eric explained, I'm the Manager of Asset Management at Macquarie City Council, and I lead a team there of professionals and experts in asset management. But my background is architecture, officially a Bachelor of Science in Architecture at the time that I did it. So I think I'm allowed to be here under the STEM banner today because my certificate does say science on it. After I finished studying in architecture, before I really went into a traditional architecture space, I spent a fair bit of time in project management roles and construction management roles. And I guess that's really where I got a taste of the construction industry as more of a practical sense. And then I did spend some time in the Government Architect's Office as well, working in a design capacity there, and then came back into that construction space and project management space. And that's really where my career has grown and developed from. Looking back, I probably don't remember a single team that I've worked in that wasn't a male-dominated team and wasn't a male-dominated space. Even coming through architecture and being in that profession, which when studying was reasonably gender balanced. Once we were out in the world and in our careers, there was still definitely a disparity. But I think my background in architecture, I think I used that to my advantage, and I used that as my leverage point, as the reason I was different in the room, as opposed to because I was a woman in the room, and because I was often an architect in a room of engineers, and I positioned myself in that way as opposed to a woman in a room with men. And that's really how I got around that challenge in the early parts of my career, but now I look back on it and I realise that every day I was in that situation where I was the only woman in the room, and now I see the women around me coming through, and they're still facing those challenges and still facing that situation every day. And I think it's only been very recently that I've started to realise that that's something we still need to change, and it's something that we still need to get past and move forward with. So moving on to the next slide, please. So I guess it's probably, I don't need to tell the people that are here today, it's something that we've been talking about for a long time, why gender balance in organisations is important, and why we've known for a long time the benefits that come from having more diverse workplaces and having people in our organisations that reflect equal genders. But I guess for me, Lake Macquarie, working at Lake Mac Council, where I've been for over 15 years now, we're an organisation that employs 1,300 people, and we deliver facilities and services for a population of over 200,000 people around our city. Our city's on a journey, a fast-track journey really, to transition from our industrial past into a modern, vibrant business, focusing on sectors that allow our residents to prosper and to grow in an innovative way into the future. Our workforce is made up of over 160 professions. We provide opportunities for people to grow and develop in their career and have a really strong career path all the way through from when they finish school or finish their education all the way through their career. As explained, my team look after all of the assets around our city. So we have, $4 billion worth of stuff. It's a lot of stuff. We have all the roads, all the stormwater, all the footpaths, all the cycleways, all the parks, playgrounds, sports facilities, swimming pools, boat ramps, jetties, everything that you can imagine all around our beautiful lake. And so for me, really, to be able to deliver what our community want for those facilities and for those assets, and to be able to use the things in our city in a way that gives them the lifestyle and the access to our beautiful lake and to our beautiful environment in the way that they want. We need a workforce and we need a team that reflects that community, and really to have that, to have a team that reflects that community, we need a diverse team, and we need gender balance, and we need strong, professional, capable people across a range of disciplines to be able to adequately provide all of those things that our community needs. So I'm really passionate about delivering those things for my community, but I really need my team to be set up in a way that they can do that best for the community. We want people that have first-hand experience and perspectives of living in our city, and to be able to do that, we need that balance. It's also a really important role for government to be leading in this space, and to really be promoting and implementing workforce inclusion. We're one of the largest employers in Lake Mac City, and we're one of the largest employers of apprentices and trainees and junior roles within the Hunter region. So we must be challenging the boundaries, and asking constantly the question of, well, if not us, then who is going to do this and who is going to make these changes? But I'm sure you can appreciate that because we work in government, we contradict that every day, because we set up our bureaucracy and we set up our rules, and we're really constrained by regulation and the requirement for merit-based recruitment and merit-based selection. So it's really challenging to be that leading example in that, under those constraints and under those circumstances. So thank you. So I guess just a little quote on the screen there, and I've talked about how I've felt in some of those rooms, but really sure that there's many of us that are familiar with this sentiment, and really having to be having that sensation of being different in a room and having to find a way to have our voices heard. We've had an inclusion strategy in place at Lake Mac for a while that's included gender balance as a key focus area that needs our attention. And in particular, we've been in the gender balance space, we've been targeting at 2 key areas of the STEM professional roles and then our outdoor workforce and our trade roles, because they're really the 2 areas that are really lacking in this space. So even though we've had that as something that we've been targeting for some time, we're still not seeing the outcomes that we would like. I recently recruited for a senior civil engineer in my team, and we had zero female applicants. We had a systems engineer recently, 0 female applicants. Cybersecurity engineer, 0 female applicants. Team leader in engineering road design, 0 female applicants. And every time I open up the applications to start doing our shortlisting and whatever, and my heart breaks just a little bit when I see that we don't actually even have an option to bring a woman forward for an interview or for that next round of consideration. Some areas are a bit more positive. Development engineers, we do see more women coming through, but still recent recruitment around candidates that are around the 35% mark. So there's definitely still a long way to go before we're seeing the parity that we would like to see at just that bringing people in the door stage. We have taken steps recently to identify some roles as female targeted by applying for exemptions under the Anti-Discrimination Act, but it's quite a lengthy process. I don't know if anybody's been through that process, but I think it took us 3 months to get that exemption. And if you've got a role that's vacant and you need someone in it right away, then to wait 3 months to be allowed to have that discretion over who you recruit is quite frustrating. So just next slide, please. So these are our offerings at Lake Mac. These are the things that we talk to people about when they consider coming to work for us. And when I read those things and when I talk about these things, I think, why wouldn't women choose to come and work in and develop their careers in local government? We offer really family-friendly, really flexible working environments, really supportive working environments. We understand that people need good work-life balance, and we have programs for corporate fitness and flexible time, and we have like flexi working hours. We have really great leave and leave packages. Really all of the things that make up a really good offering. But we're still not seeing people seeking out that as a career pathway. We do have a strong female workforce in a number of more traditional areas that like the administration side, customer service, human resources and communication, but we're not seeing that shift across into, as I said, the outdoor workforce and the STEM roles in particular. I think that demonstrates that it's clear that there's still barriers within the industry, and it's not just local government as an employer, but there's still perceptions out in the broader community around how women are engaged in those parts of the workforce. So just thinking about that slide on the previous page, I think like we've talked about how women need to, when they're the only one in the room, to be find their voice and be heard, but really we've got to go further than that. It's not just enough to expect women to find their voice. We've got to change the structures, and we've got to remove those barriers and really and be intentional about how we give women opportunities to see those changes and facilitate the change that we want to see. Thank you. Oh, there we go. So I just want to give a plug to one of the things that we're doing, which is not specific to women in STEM, but it's a really, really great program that we've got underway at Lake Mac. And this was a bottom-up groundswell movement that some women started and is now sponsored by our mayor and our CEO, who are both women, and is a really strong, engaging program. So we have an organisation-wide women's network now called Spark. It's been going for a couple of years. It survived the COVID time, and in fact, probably even gained a fair bit of momentum during that time, because I think people were really seeking out those networks and those connections. And now we run it as an annual program where we have a seasonal program of guest speakers come in, but we also have an online community where women, and if you go onto the Yammer board that we've got for this online community, like the stuff that people share, it's just like tips on how to manage your finances, ideas for like mental health support, just anything and everything that may be of interest. And it's having that network and having that community within an organisation, I think really gives people a touch point and gives people that support, and really helps if everything else fails and everything else is lost, they've always got a safe place to connect with people of similar interests and provide that support. So it's not limited to a specific area or a specific issue. It's really up to the members in terms of how that network operates and connects. So that's a really great offering that we have at the moment. And I'll just move on to the next slide. But I just want to talk a little bit about, so we mentioned earlier that we've got some female targeted roles. We've got a heap of roles going in this space at the moment, and we want women to apply for all of them, not just the female targeted roles. So we had to seek exemption for those ones to be recruited specifically for women under this round of recruitment, but we're reviewing our equal opportunity and diversity plan at the moment, and the intention for that is that we will be setting some explicit actions and targets within that equal opportunity and diversity plan for the gender balance that we want to see, and targets across all our areas of diversity, so that we to be reflective of the community that we represent. And once we have that plan in place, we'll be able to recruit directly against those targets without having to go and seek those exemptions. So that's something that we're working really strongly towards at the moment, to be able to and then be able to choose roles from that list without having to go through that process to specifically target those areas of recruitment. But there's a bunch of other things that we've got underway as well at the moment. We're working on growing a work experience program specifically for women, targeting this space. We're working on, we've got a memorandum of understanding with the university, looking at research projects and how we can investigate further into this space. Partnering with organisations like HunterWiSE, I think, are a really great opportunity for organisations to tap into what's going on and what they can do better. We've got mentoring programs specifically assigned for women in male-dominated areas of the organisation. So tapping into those outdoor workforces and those professional STEM roles and giving women that direct one-on-one support within the organisation. Personally, myself, I'm implementing a couple of things, and I don't know if there's anyone from my HR team here, but hopefully they won't hear this. My personal goal is that every time I recruit, that the top women in the pool make it through to interview, regardless of who else is on the list. And I guess the disappointing thing is when I get 0 female candidates, I can't enact on that. But every time I see women on the list, then they go through the selection process first from my perspective. We run a lot of leadership programs and a lot of training and development programs in our organisation, and despite the fact that my team is doesn't have a 50-50 split of women. All my candidates that I put forward for leadership and training programs, I aim to have that 50-50 split in those people that I'm putting forward, and always pick the women first before I choose the blokes. And I'm sorry to the blokes in the room, but that's just the way it is. So I'm really actively looking myself at ways that I can take those steps, and really, as I said before, it's not enough to expect women to be the ones just standing up and making their voices heard. We've really got to find ways to create the structure and create an environment that can happen around them as well. And sorry, the one other thing I wanted to mention, so I've got listed on here our works assistant roles, which I guess tap into that outdoor workforce that I mentioned, but I've also setting up a program within my team where, because what we pride ourselves on at council as well is that we can offer that full career pathway from the start of your career right through. So there's a program that we're setting up which is like an internal cadetship. So where people that have been working with us as works assistant or out in the field roles can, rather than putting all of our roles out to an external market in the indoor workforce when they come up, being able to bring them in from the field and do that internal development. And I'm really excited about the fact that we're targeting female specific roles in the works assistant space, because it means that I've got that that talent pool now to tap into and to start bringing through and help them. So I think what we find is a lot of women don't necessarily get, as they're leaving school, the opportunity to study and to take on professional qualifications that they might have done with different influences and different support around them. So looking at ways that we can give them those opportunities once they're in the organisation and underway with their careers, and being able to bring them from one aspect of what we do and help them train and follow their career pathways once they're working with us, and doing that in that works assistant space, and also doing that in, so I have 2 trainee customer admin support officers in my team, and we talk to those women, because it's generally women that apply for those roles, about the next steps for them. And we've had women move from those roles into formal qualifications in procurement and in finance and other areas that they just didn't even have those offerings available to them when they left school. So using those avenues as pathways to connect women to those future career opportunities as well. So a bunch of things that we're doing there, and hopefully that's given you some insights and some ideas that you can take away. And that's the end of my presentation. Do we want to do questions at the end, or?
Yeah, we might do questions at the end. Thank you so much, Helen. And so much of what you said resonated really strongly, in particular that sinking feeling when you open the list of applicants for a position and there's no female candidates, but you have beautifully illustrated some proactive steps you can take to make sure that doesn't happen in the future. So keep your questions to the end, because I am going to welcome Kari to the stage now, or not stage, podium, to tell us what she's doing at Quarry Mining. Thank you, Kari.
I'm Kari Armitage. I'm the Managing Director of Quarry Mining. We are a team of proud Australian manufacturers of mining equipment, primarily for underground.
We're back, people.
Coal mines and tunnelling projects, Our sales team are highly technical. They've all been working underground themselves. There's probably 150 years of underground experience within that team.
One of the favourite parts of my job has been involved in innovating some new tools and leading all the underground trials.
I love the whole customer focus and being on site. The team here at Quarry Mining allow us to deliver what we need to deliver.
Back here at headquarters is manufacturing, fitting, boiler making, engineering all in-house, so that team can bring the things we can do better for the mines back in-house and get a first-hand team hands-on to develop that solution in the most time-efficient manner.
Name is Helen Plummer. I'm the operations manager here at Quarry Mining. My role primarily is looking after all the different workshops that relate with fitting and repairs, machining, fabrication, engineering, and that general day-to-day operation of getting manufactured goods out the door.
We have 15 fitters, both here and in Macquarie, looking after the underground equipment.
And I'm in charge of the workshop for all our specialised drilling equipment. So we have 12 CNCs and 4 robots, mill turns and FANUC arms.
As a solutions provider for the mining and tunnelling industry, we regularly get hit with requests for unique one-off solutions or problems that need solutions, and that then often gets driven through our sales and engineering teams to come up with a design.
One of my roles here is to work with sales staff to produce and supply customised drilling equipment to suit the needs of the customer.
I believe Quarry Mining as a company believes that safety and quality in the store is as important as any other section of the business. Making sure that the customers are serviced in full and on time and mistake free.
Our big clients are Glencore, Centennial, Peabody, Anglo, those big mining houses, as right down to a little guy looking for one drill bit to stabilise a batter on a freeway. Historically, we have focused on our own backyard because Australia has the best coal and that's what we're good at. And the standard of equipment that Australian coal mining demands is what we've been striving to deliver.
I manage our Melbourne office and assist in the operations in Beresfield. So I work across all departments of Quarry Mining and I get to contribute to the high level of customer service we have.
So here at Quarry Mining, we are in the fortunate position to be able to sponsor all local community groups, sporting groups, charity groups. We just like getting out there, getting involved, whether it be the staff going, the families going, and attracting all those people to join us. And we want to keep doing it for generations to come.
The flexibility of what we do, we've got everything from consumables coming in from our own manufacturing to consumables coming in from suppliers, and there's such a wide variety of what we actually do that you're never bored. There's never a single day that's the same. We've brought so many new products and so many other brands under our banner, and that's been really enjoyable to work across, being able to jump into areas that I never thought I would.
We have 77 employees now based in Newcastle, Mackay, Sydney and Melbourne with various skills base. Quarry Mining is almost 40 years old, and in the last 14 years I've been lucky enough to be in this role, and really every day is exciting as the last. There's always growth opportunities, and there are today 77 great people doing great things, and we love that team camaraderie, and that extends to our customers and all our partners that we work with, including the community. It's always of the utmost importance to us to be the preferred supplier of this equipment in our industry. talk to that. Okay. Sorry. I remember saying to my mum when I was 5 years old, I'm going to be an architect. And I then sort of realised that I wasn't probably creative enough, funky enough to be an architect, but an engineer was a good idea because I could help the architects hold the buildings up. And I never wavered from that. So I think that's a lucky thing to know at such a young age what you want to do and keep that going all through your life. So when I left school, I did do engineering and I worked for what is now, I think, WSP, Wally Parsons. It was Parsons Brinkhoff then, for 15 years. And then, came to take over Quarry Mining from Dad. And 15 years ago, at the time, there was 3 people there at Quarry Mining. And I must have a good knack of picking great people because now I've got this amazing team who have helped me grow that business and create these great roles. And I'm very proud of the trades that are there and what we achieve there as a team on a daily basis. So my next little video is just the girls. Now, they freaked out when I told them I was sending a video man around to talk to them because they just kind of like to get on with it. But then I think they enjoyed it. There's 2 girls missing. One's a computer scientist and the other one is a fitter. Sadly, the fitter isn't showcased because she's got a pretty cool job and she takes the boys on every day, no worries at all. So we'll show you that and then I'll have a little talk about them for a minute. Thanks.
I'm Sam Cooper. I'm the CFO at Quarry Mining.
I'm Sophie and I'm a graduate engineer.
I'm Jess. I work in internal sales.
I'm Alex. I have a combined role of quality assurance and internal sales.
My name is Joanna Carter. My role is accounting assistant.
My name is Karen and my role is braiding.
I've worked here for 2.5 years now.
3 years? 2 years.
For 4 years.
I have worked here for just over 11 years.
I have worked here for 1 week. This is my 2nd week here. I got into this role because it was advertised as something that was suitable for working for mums. I went to TAFE and did some study. Mining is amazing to get into because it is very friendly, something that's going to be around for a long time.
There was a program offered through uni called AusMine and it was for women in STEM roles. So I applied through that and that led me to Quarry Mining.
I still wanted to study but also earn money at the same time. So to do that, I started off with a Cert 3 in business admin, which eventually led me here. And then I've also continued my studies by doing a Cert 4 in business. Well, I manage the finances of the group of entities that we have here at Quarry Mining.
I braise roof bit bolts for the mining and very proud of what I do.
So I do a lot of different things, but my end goal for my role is to dispatch as many orders as we can and make sure that there's stock on the shelf.
I test things like drill rods and drill bits. I also track and monitor stock and materials.
It's very challenging. It's never a dull moment. There's always plenty of exciting things happening.
The people here are great. Everybody's friendly, really laid back, calm environment.
The people, it just makes the day go faster and we have fun.
I love the community that everyone brings to it. It's great. Probably the people. Everyone's super nice and they're always willing to help out if you need.
The thing I enjoy most about working here is probably the people. There's just so many different people that I've met. Everyone's so helpful. It's just a really good place to work. I love my role because it's varied, it's very challenging and it's quite autonomous. I think management give us a lot of trust here, which creates a really nice environment and a good place to work.
The variety, you know, like one day I could be designing a drill and the next a trolley or a shelf for someone. Like it's very, very different every day and I like making products and then seeing where they go and getting feedback.
The thing I enjoy most is that there's so many things for me to learn. I'm learning new things every day and there's no real limit to what can be done here. Always something different.
I look forward to learning new techniques and more knowledge.
What I enjoy is learning something new every day and getting back involved in the mining industry.
I've brazed before, I've been in this sort of industry for a while. It's interesting, branch out in any way if you really wanted to.
Definitely go for it. It's eye-opening and it's different to what you're probably used to, but it's great and you'll love it.
There's always different things that you can do, even if you started off with something that you didn't like 100%. There's so many different avenues to lead you to so many different jobs.
Do it. Don't be scared. Any women can do anything.
I think it's a great industry to be in. It's very dynamic and it's really is at the heart of industry in Australia. I think it's a growing industry and something that can provide a lot of opportunities for people. Comparing myself to an animal is a tough question.
No one has ever asked me what animal I would be compared to.
I don't know. I haven't got an animal because I'm black and white. You'll get me on any different day.
Probably a koala, because when I'm not at work, all I do is eat or sleep.
My result was a bear, which maybe it says that you're strong and grounded, but also if I could hibernate all winter, that sounds pretty good to me too.
So I hope you enjoyed that. I did. They're my girls at Quarry Mining. I only saw that video for the first time late last night because I asked the guy to make it for me last week, and he was like, "Oh, what, in 2 days?" And said, "Yeah, well, that's how we roll at Quarry Mining." And I think there are organisations like that around where you need to be super reactive, because mining is a crazy environment. You never know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen by the time I get back there in the next hour or so. But when I saw that last night, I realised the thing probably that resonated the most was they all said the people, which was, I know, repetitive and lovely. But what I realised was, if you want to go for a job in an environment like that, where you're going to be on the floor and you're going to be a little bit out of your comfort zone, it's going to be easier for guys to be bigger and stronger and all of these things. And the girls bring amazing thinking and camaraderie, a different sense of camaraderie to the team. But I think you probably need to have a think about that, whether you like working with people. Sam, the accountant, she talked more about autonomy. So there's a difference there in a trade sort of a skill job to a more professional job, I suppose. And they all seem to enjoy the people and the teamwork. And if you're somebody who really wants to sit in a corner and do something different, there certainly are opportunities in STEM. I had a welder come to me in an interview once, and he said, "I just weld, that's all I do. Don't ask me to train anybody. I don't like people, I like to weld." Okay, we'll stand in the corner and weld. But I think for girls, if you want to be on the floor and you want to be hands-on mechanical type career, you'd need to be a people person. That would be my little bit of advice for today. And I mean, I think the others, certainly Helen went over a lot of things about recruitment, and there's still the challenges, and they still are there. I just probably wanted to showcase a little corner of Australia that I think is fairly positive for women. The men there are great. It has its days. When I was younger and I had a couple of hard days, I used to call them the ponytail day. But yeah, generally. And then my last point is Leah asked me to think about a success story. And, I feel fortunate that there are lots of those little ones. And even in Newcastle itself, there are many successful women in these careers around. You don't have to look far just to see some women who've done some amazing things in Newcastle. But then I found this photo last night, and it honestly is the ultimate success story. That's the Queen being a mechanic. You can be a mechanic and the Queen. I thought that's pretty cool. So thank you for having me today. I hope you enjoyed that. And back soon.
And I'll just let you get started since we're behind the mic.
Thank you. Just put them down, is that all right?
Yep.
Excellent. Thank you for having me today. Before I commence, though, I thought I would briefly introduce and use a video, so I'm glad it's up and running as well. For those who aren't familiar with what Bloomfield is, so I'll tell you a little bit about them. I think.
The Bloomfield Group is a proud and successful Australian mining and engineering group. Australian owned and operated, we've been a pillar of New South Wales mining for more than 80 years. we've set the standard in caring for our community and our people. Our ethos of developing new and innovative mining techniques and controls keeps us at the forefront of the industry. We employ local people and work with local small businesses to help our international customers build and power their economies. We've stayed true to our history and our place in our community as we've evolved into a modern mining and engineering company with a reputation for excellence. The Bloomfield Group, an Australian company that cares and delivers.
So we are a proud and successful Australian mining and engineering group, and I've been proud to be with Bloomfield since 2012 now, so 10 years. Excuse me. Why am I pleased to be here today discussing STEM with you? This is very echoey now. That it? It's better. So why am I pleased to be here talking to you and discussing STEM? Well, I like to claim myself as a fellow STEM woman as well for 4 reasons. One, I have studied psychology and people with psychology degrees like to remind you that it is a science. I do have the responsibility of technology at Bloomfield, so I oversee the technology team, hence I could turn on the music for us today. That's about as far as I go. I have worked in mining for over 20 years now, so I have had a lot to do with engineers and therefore engineering. And oddly enough, I do actually have a double degree and I was a maths teacher before I went into HR. So I hit all the STEM aspects. But the main reason I'm here is because I am an advocate for diversity and inclusion and recruiting more women into STEM roles in predominantly those male-dominated workplaces and how important that is for the future of our businesses. The benefits of diversity has been studied extensively and the verdict is in. Guess what? Diversity is good for business. Something I know I don't have to tell everyone in this room. Succeeding in diversity and inclusiveness in our workplace is only going to be made real by people who actually understand that growing the role of women in all levels and all roles in our businesses does actually contribute to the health, the capability, the competitiveness, and the bottom line of an organisation. Ultimately, diverse groups approach problems differently and are less likely to group think or build on the similar ideas and thoughts, and more likely to actually think outside the box and be innovative. Additionally, a lift in team intelligence is often reported as a result of increased social interaction amongst diverse people, as opposed to familiar interaction with those who have a similar background. But again, I don't need to sell that to people here in this room for why diversity is important and so is inclusion in our businesses today. But unfortunately, we do have to keep promoting it and having sessions like this to remind people that it is important. That's something that I'm extremely proud to have been able to do through Bloomfield, and I believe that Bloomfield does very, very well. And I've actually had some personal dedication from Bloomfield in being able to celebrate the fact that I was awarded with the New South Wales Exceptional Woman in Mining Award, and then went on to be the first New South Wales woman to win the Exceptional Women in Australian Resources as well. And Bloomfield has supported me to have all the opportunities that comes with that, to be able to go out and actually promote and use that platform to show people the diverse opportunities that are available in our industry. At Bloomfield, we spend a lot of time on the talent pipeline in our business, and we have to consider women in each of those talent areas and how we will attract them and how we will promote them. Our pipeline begins as early as getting kids in from schools. So we host a number of schools in our on our sites so they can come out and see what a mine does. And we always make sure that there's a woman representative there so they can really see women in roles and talk to them and understand what they're doing as well. We also have in-house programs that are designed to actually promote the diverse opportunities available in our industry, such as this one, which was called Education Meets Industry. And the reason we did this is we started to see a drop in our applications for our apprenticeship programs and our vacation student programs. So we realised we had to go out and find what is the key to getting people to come into our business. And we realised that it was those career advisors, the people that are out there advising students on what they can be in the future, but also then what they need to do to be able to be those people, and that's maintain those STEM roles. So what we did is we actually invited a number of career advisors, excuse me, into our business. They came for a week in our business, and they actually put on the high vis, they put on the hard hat and the steel cap boots for a week, and we got them out and around through every single department in our business. They went to the operations team, they went to finance, they went to safety, HR, IT, they went to the maintenance team, and we shared them amongst all the groups. And we had mentors in each of those departments who spent time with each the advisors, giving them an understanding of what kind of skill you need to be able to be successful in that job. What is critical for someone who is interested in that job for them to do? It gave them a person, they got to see it, they got to understand it and breathe it, and be able to then go back to the schools and talk with some really foundation and knowledge, having seen it in our business. So it was a program that was very successful, and pleased to say that the New South Wales Minerals Council are continuing to do that in other schools around as well. So, and it's certainly something we're going to continue to do. We also go to talent fairs, because if we, and we always have a diverse group of individuals at those talent fairs, and we find it's really, really important, because again, you can't be what you can't see. And we need to have people standing at those stands to be able to encourage the women that our industry has opportunities for them, and that they won't be alone, and they will have like-minded people with them when they come to those jobs. We also have scholarships so that we can go out and actually tap the shoulder on men and women to come into our business. And we like to then help them through that process throughout their entire studies as well. We have a work experience model where we invite Year 10 students into our business for a week, and they can come again and have a look around, particularly at those trades roles and the ones where people haven't yet thought of what they do and what they can contribute. So they come and actually see that happening. We have vacation students, and very pleased to see Christiane was one that here today as well from Bloomfield. And with those vacation students, we give them meaningful work. They actually come in with a project or something that they'll be able to see an outcome from at the end of their vacation time with us. So we make sure that they really get a good spread and full experience of what the job has to offer. We have an apprentice program that we're very proud of at Bloomfield. It's something that's gone on for a number of years. And the apprentice program brings in a small number compared to a lot of other companies, just 7 people each year. And we really do try to make sure that we have a diverse group coming through, similar to the others. Today I do have a little bit of a favouritism for some of those pools that come in that have females' names, and give them an opportunity to go through the process. Unfortunately, though, that pool is quite small, so we do have to keep doing what we're doing to be able to attract people to put their name in that hat so we can get them through the pipeline. We have a trainee program, so this is complete green skin, completely, it might be someone starting fresh and quite young in our business, but it could also be someone who wants a career change, who's sitting there thinking that they wonder what mining is, and this is an opportunity for someone with 0 experience to go through. And we've had a lot of success here in attracting women to these roles, which we're really proud of too. We have our graduate program, and often our vacation students go on to be our graduates and hopefully stay on to be with us further as well. We also do a number of industry events as well, and we try to promote our industry connecting to others. And this is one where we actually hosted the NRLW team on site. And we got to link and share stories with them about how similar our industries are. They are women in a male-dominated industry, and they are having the same challenges that we do. So we had a great opportunity to see them, and we're seeing some great successes. And just last night saw a video of one of the ladies that were here with us who are doing amazing things now in her career. Because it's every success, excuse me, every success story that we can share provides that fuel and hopefully inspiration that others can actually see and then hopefully take their own journey towards workplace diversity, but also very importantly, inclusion as well. Because contrary to popular opinion, diversity and inclusion doesn't begin and end with just having a more gender balanced business. It is very important, absolutely. But what really is important is that everyone in the organisation needs to step up and create an inclusive workplace, because it's no point doing all of that pipeline that we just discussed and attracting people into our pool, going through the recruitment process, getting them in, if we can't keep them. And we need to do a lot of effort in our business to be able to actually build an inclusive workplace. And particularly that we have to work on the leaders in the team. And we need to make sure they have traits such as a visible commitment to make diversity and inclusion an actual personal priority of their own. We need them to demonstrate that they have an open mindset and have that deep curiosity of people so that they can actually listen without any judgment of who they are and what they are. And that's only just to name a few things. So at Bloomfield, we have created and spent a lot of time on a leadership capability framework. And this is designed to acknowledge the change in our leadership expectations today, where great leaders no longer just lead with their head, they actually lead with their heart. And our capability framework is designed to help leaders build inclusive work environments where team members feel that they can actually be their authentic selves at work. And that's a journey. That's something that will take us a while. We have a number of initiatives that are aligned to our capability model so that we can actually educate our leaders on how to actually build that psychologically safe and inclusive workplace for women to be. So I could talk all day, but I've been given a small time frame. So I'm going to stick to it just because I'm a good girl. But I would love to provide you with many more examples of what Bloomfield do to try and foster a culture of inclusiveness. We're only just starting, we're not perfect, but we're certainly taking that journey and we need to get everyone to do that. So I will leave you, because I do like to leave talks with a call to action, and that I hope you do take away from this presentation today. There is so much that we have been able to do in the space of attracting women to STEM roles, and there is so much that we are all trying to do, but we need to do more. We can't stop. We have to keep doing things like this, having a wonderful events, foundations like this that support women in STEM roles. And it's going to take each and every one of us in all businesses around Australia to be genuinely committed to a diverse and inclusive workplace if we're going to get any success in this space at all. Every initiative and every program, no matter how big or how small, will help us progress towards having a diverse and inclusive workplace in Australia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Renata, for your enthusiasm and great success stories. So I think we have seen excellent examples of how diversity in the workplace is a good thing, some great initiatives in terms of getting more women into traineeships and apprenticeships and into STEM roles. So I'm going to open the floor, and the Zoom floor included, to questions. If you have of any of our three speakers, Helen and Kari and Renata, things that have inspired you from their presentations and genuine queries that you might have. And I will bring the microphone around so that the Zoom room can hear your question.
Thank you. So Juliana from Jacobs Australia. I just wanted to pick up on a point I think that you made at the end, which is so important, is the inclusion part. So the language that we use at Jacobs is inclusion first, and that's a really big thing. And I heard a story the other day, which just a really short story I wanted to share about the importance of inclusion. It's all good to attract people. There's a company of elephants, let's say, and they're looking around, the leaders are looking around going, wow, we're all elephants. We need some diversity. Let's hire some giraffes. So they went out and hired giraffes, and it was all good. They, had a target. They, they had the permission. They could get the giraffes, and they just kept doing exactly what they were doing before. And so the giraffes started to speak up, but no one was really listening. And so the giraffes thought, geez, if I'm going to stay here, I better make myself look like an elephant. So they bowed their necks. They, tried to be small. They were hitting their head on the doorways. Nothing had changed. And eventually the giraffes left, right? So I think that's just a really simple story. And it was a really great point you made. And I think if we're going to attract people, we're going to keep people, the inclusion part is what we need to get right first. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you. Sarah, did you have a question?
Although it's sort of already been addressed. But first of all, I wanted to say to all three ladies, thank you for fantastic presentations. I really enjoyed it. And my question was also about that inclusivity, because I loved this. I took photos quickly because I couldn't read it fast enough, but I love the inclusion strategy of the last talk. My question is, has it been going long enough for you to see a difference yet in terms of retention? Has your retention rates improved?
Look, I'd love to say yes, but I'm not going to lie. I'm going to say we've got a journey to go. We've definitely seen it takes a while for leaders to actually adopt the change. It is a change, particularly in our industry, mining. You did lead with your head before. It was this encouraging the heart and self-reflecting and building a psychologically safe environment. These are very, very new words to a lot of the gentlemen and ladies in our business today. But we definitely are seeing a lot of people take that up and be working with their teams to do it. And all I can say is I think watch this space the next few years, definitely.
Anna.
Thank you to the speakers. That was fantastic. I noted that a common point of the three speakers was the frustration in having still very small pool of applicants. So we have been doing a lot, we are doing a lot, we need to do more. What can we do to improve this? Because at the university, we have the similar frustration. The pool of students coming in these particular areas is still small. So there is something that looks to me linked to a cultural change that needs to be made. From your perspective as an industry, someone that wants to see this pool of applicants to grow, what do you think we can do more? What would you recommend?
Who'd like to have a go at that?
For everybody, I'll go again. Look, I actually, I know the Minerals Council have done a lot of work in this, in that the roadblock that we have is as young as year 8 students not being aware of anything more than what their home little circle does, or what now probably their Facebook circle does. And we need to do more to get into the younger years. And we haven't spent a lot of time doing that. That's probably been the last 3-4 years that the industry has gone down to that level. Before, we did a lot around graduates and sponsorships and stuff like that at the level that we're about to get in the next year or two. We've got to start this campaign 10 years before we're going to see any success of it. And it's programs like this, and had a great conversation with Sam, one of your mentors, who's going to schools to encourage the students to do that and talk to the kids about it and keep them in there. Because if their parents or their social networks aren't doing that, then we need to get resources to be able to do it. So I think it is keep doing what you're doing, and programs and foundations like this is just amazing support and gives a lot of encouragement that we'll get there.
Thank you for that. And yes, Year 8 is the pick of HunterWiSE's schools program for that same reason.
Can I just add to that? And I'd be interested to know at a lot of these positions that we're trying to attract women, and particularly the more senior ones, are they offered on a part-time basis? I'm seeing a lot of particularly at a senior level, we want women in the role, but we want women that are available from Monday to Friday. And I'm just wondering, because a lot of women are looking for that part-time work, whether that's on offer anywhere.
Do you want to say something, Helen?
We don't exclusively employ people as on a full-time basis, and if people want to request reduced hours or a flexible work agreement, then that's available for pretty much all of our roles. I think there's probably a barrier there, and we don't actually actively advertise that when we put a role out to market, and so that if people don't see that in the offering, then they may not actually take the step to apply in the first place. But certainly when we're discussing employing candidates, if that's something that people are looking for, then that's on the table, absolutely. Yeah.
That's great. Any questions on the Zoom, Leah? Any other questions in the room? Same old, same old.
Hi, I'm Stacey from Hayes Engineering Recruitment. Further to what people are saying about how we can do more to get people attracted to STEM, I think what we find with a lot of people these days when we ask them about their careers, they talk about what they want to get out of their career, what they want to achieve, and it's not so much, move up to management or anything like that. And I think with STEM, a lot of when you think of a mechanical engineer, you think of an engine, or a truck. And I think if people knew more about what they could achieve, like we've got mechanical engineers I've recruited who actually designed stints for hearts and things like that. And I think if we talk about what you can actually get as an outcome in a career, what you can influence, what you can change by taking a STEM approach to your career, I think it would go a lot further to attract people who had a better idea of, I can make a real difference in this. I'm just not going to work on an engine. I'm not going to build a road, what they can actually do. And I think if you look at the variety and the sustainability and the renewables and the mining and what it can achieve, because there's a great program at the moment with mining that shows more of what, it's not just about digging a hole, it's about what you can get out of it. And I think if we promote it that way, you'll attract a lot more women.
Thank you. Thank you, Stacey. Those are fantastic points. Sarah?
Only because no one else was asking. I'm not trying to dominate the questions. I actually was really impressed, and I think it was a common theme across the presentations about recruiting women who might be looking for a career change. So women who hadn't necessarily thought about STEM when they're in high school or later on. And we haven't really looked at that in HunterWiSE. And I was wondering if the three of you, whoever's interested, could talk about how that's worked, what are the good strategies for that, and how we might be able to support that as part of HunterWiSE.
So recruiting for career change.
So in our trainee program, that's probably the one where I certainly mentioned it, we see a number of people that have decided that they want to swap careers. We had someone as recently as our recent intake who was in Canberra working in government and politics and all the wonderful things that happen in Canberra. And she was at a recruitment interview for a trainee to drive one of our trucks in Singleton. And so very significant change. Coming alone, no family, no one to come with, just wanting to drive a truck. And I think the support that we would give to someone going into that change is really, really important. Transition for anyone is difficult. I mean, women are very good at transitioning when, say, pregnancy, you know, having a baby, going in and out of work. I mean, we have to get better at helping transitions into new jobs, or from working, going out for maternity leave, coming back again, or deciding to just take a different job. COVID at the moment, the great resignation, everyone is sitting at their computer desks or on their trucks thinking of what else they can be and who else they can be, and we don't want to lose those people. So as a business, we need to be better at helping people to transition to what it is they want to do. And again, that's going to take inclusive leaders, because you've got to know your people, you've got to talk to them, you've got to have open dialogue, you have to have some uncomfortable conversations, and all that's going to take a lot of skill set from a leader to be able to do. So I think the key is getting those giraffes to feel very comfortable in an elephant world, and we have to do that as a business, but as individuals as well.
Yeah, I love some of those points, and they really hit home to me. But I think maybe something we can do as leaders is talk to people. And I'm thinking more in I suppose in the more professional roles, like with your question, with say lawyers and accountants and things like that. As leaders, can we engage a lawyer or an accountant who's never been in a STEM industry space to help us? And I would learn a lot from them, I think, because they're coming from somewhere completely unrelated to what I've done. So that could really, you know, be a great thing for my business. So that's a real two-way street, and hopefully they might get some job satisfaction out of that. So it's just another approach, I guess.
Any last questions? I know some have to leave, but we'll finish in the
Last. This one will be really quick, and it's just a different way of looking at it. I'm Monique, and I'm from Key. I'm from the University of Newcastle's commercialisation arm. So we go to many of these different conferences where women in STEM in different fields and disciplines. And this one's a tough one, and we get it. But I was recently at one to do with the medical health science and life sciences area, and the question that I got afterwards from so many of the men that were brave enough to come is, we want to do something, but we feel like we might be in the way. What do we do? Because we feel like, where do we fit into this story? And so I guess that's my question to all three of you.
Thank you, Monique. Who wants to say something?
So where can men help? Is that the question? Men have always helped me. So I've been very lucky like that. I think we probably need to give the strong message back that they're not in the way, and that they, I mean, can we just not have gender barriers? Can we ask them that? Can we all just go to work as people and get a job done and achieve something together? I know it's not that simple, but maybe the message back to them from me would be that. Yeah.
Thanks. I think, yeah, it's a really good question and a really good area to explore. I think men calling out when things aren't working well is a really effective way of that leadership aspect and them leading that change as well. And so I think the question said was, are they getting in the way? I think when they get in the way, it's when they're not actually calling things out and identifying when things aren't working and when behaviours aren't right, and when their peers and their colleagues aren't actively doing some of the things that we've been talking about today. And like, it shouldn't just be me that's looking and saying, let's give the girls the interviews first. Like, we all need to be doing that. And I think if we're not, then yeah, they should be stepping up and saying, why aren't we, as well as the women in the room saying that. So, yeah.
Very good point, Helen, that it's everyone on the selection committee's job to change.
Yeah, I would just say similar thing, that if they can be aware of their unconscious bias, and we all have to take that shift. We all have to make sure that we're aware that creeps in. Certainly not in a way. It will take everyone. So having male champions to actually have that change is important. And if they can also make sure that we're helping, and I guess if they're modelling that person that stands up and has that confidence to be able to say, hey, that's not right, or I'm going to sit here and stand up for that person who said something inappropriate to make the environment uncomfortable. They are leading the way by being people that children can see, new leaders emerging and coming through. So I think they are a major part of the solution, certainly not hindering it at all. And if we can get everyone realising this is not a women's problem and it's a societal one, and we need everyone in society to jump on board and make sure we make a change.
I just want to tell a really nice story. I have a team of sales reps that go around on the sites, and I had a customer one day ring me up and he said, your sales rep just tore my head off because I kind of had a go at you and I'm ringing up to apologise. I can't. So he said, do you really want to work for that little ponytail? And my sales rep just turned around and said, mate, she'd know more about your drilling equipment than you do. And I don't appreciate your comments, And I think that's just one of the nicest things that ever happened to me in my whole career. And little things like that, and Renata made the point before, just every little bit contributes to the bigger picture of us making this stronger. And HunterWiSE certainly does that too. Yeah.
Thank you, Kari. I know that there's more questions in the room, but I'm actually going to make a call because we're a bit over time and everyone needs to get to their next position. So I'd like to thank Renata and Helen and Kari for amazing, inspirational presentations. Thank our sponsors and thanks everyone for coming. Please help yourself to some more snacks or drink and loiter if you have the time. Thank you for coming.